Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Hey Ugandans, I'm Lieutenant Colonel Kiki, the Deputy Defense Spokesperson and actually the Deputy Spokesperson for the Uganda People's Defense Forces. I was hosted on Alternative Dig Talk. I encourage all Ugandans that this is the way to go. Always watch, participate, give your views and ask questions on Alternative Dig Talk. Dig Talk, the way to go.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Guten Morgen, that is good morning in the German language. Welcome to the Mighty Drive. My name is Karuhanga Edgar Matthew, and it's the 23rd day of November 2021. We're streaming live on Facebook and on our other social media platforms. We have Twitter as well, we have YouTube, but the page is at the Alternative Uganda dachikerie mwe yakaita kusawe mwezi okumacha era kyasanyu okumanya nti Julia eyo olunaku lwalero okedde okubanga obera informed wano ku mukutu ogwa the Alternative Dig Talk, where we say we are redefining the social media narrative in this era and also asking the tough questions that many people like to hide away from. We don't hide away from those questions. We ask them straight to the faces of the people that are responsible. Ladies and gentlemen, kyasanyu nnyo era okubanga ndi namwe olunaku olwalero. Today we have the leaders of the Uganda National Students Association omujimanyi yegatta abasomi abali mu ggwanga lino erya Uganda. Tulina Roy Rugumayo, ono ye Secretary General, ne omukyala Julia Muhumuza bagenda okubanga batwegattako wano ne Vice President w'ekibiina kino oba ekitongole kino ekya Uganda National Students Association. Tugenda kubanga tunyumyamuko nabo emboozi n'omukyala Fraida Bikobere ajja kuba waali awo nga tunyumyamu tubabuuza ku bibuuzo kye kigenda mu maaso. Beetegese batya amasomero agenda kubanga bagaggula. President yatusuubiza yagamba nti nno zijja kubeera mu January 2022 economy yonna egenda kubanga egguddwawo wamu. So we are going to ask the students, how prepared are they and how prepared are their folks? How have they, tried to help those ones that maybe were not able to actually make it up to now, and some have died. Unfortunately, some have become pregnant, guys. It's something that is so stressing. But we shall be asking those questions and trying to find out from them, and as the Uganda National Students Association, what is their take on the reopening of schools that is set to be there in January 2022. That's a month from now, because as we're speaking, November wamusenene atumukubye mabega naye ekizibu ekiriwo nti guno omwezi ensenene tezirabise nnyo nga bwe zitera kubanga zirabika. By the way, we should actually find out the theory behind ensenene ezo zivaawo. Up to now I still ask that question. Oba omukulu Arnold ali banziramuko oba Norman kubanga mwe bino ebintu mubimanyi ensenene zino azivaawo akimanya. I'm not asking alone, I'm asking for very many Ugandans. Ladies and gentlemen, ndoza katuyingireko mawuli agabadde gatambula nenga sinayingirayo. We are proudly powered by Praise Property Consultants. Praise kyekola oba oyagala ekintu kyonna ekikwatagana ku ttaka. You want to acquire land, you want to sell land, are you also into real estate? Amayumba bettanire nnyo, balina amataka ku nguudo ezifuluma Kampala oba all roads that lead outside the central business district, that is Kampala. Enguudo nga Masaka Road, enguudo nga Mityana Road, enguudo nga Pombo Road, ezo enguudo zonna balinako amataka ate gali at affordable prices. Sente za nungi nnyo tosobola kubanga weekokola ensimbi zaabwe. So bakubireko olunaku olwaleero, ennamba yaabwe eri noti 7 emunya 7 noti mukaaga oba kanjizdemu mu lulimi olungereza eri 0706 147 006 eyo ye Praise Property Consultants. Oba osobola okuba nga obakyalirako bali wali ewandege ya ku KCCA market room 128 level 2 abantu abami n'abakyala ba Praise Property Consultants ojja kuba nga obasanga waawo nawadde mpitawo olunaku lw'eggulo ewandege yanga mbalaba bali bulungi banekanekanyira bw'oba beetaaga ojja bakubirako oba ogenda okuba nga obakyalirako babe nga bakuyamba mu ngeri eyamanya nga ina bagambye nze Edgar Matthew Karuhanga ndi muweereza wano ku the alternative digital fete tukkiriza nti no tujja kukola wano tujja kuweereza bannayuganda nga tubanyumiza ebintu ebibadde gye batabadde era nga tubafuula okuba abantu abategeevu abantu abali informed abantu abasobola making decisions from an informed point of view nga tubabulya ki ekigenda mu maaso mu ggwanga lyabwe ne wabweru w'eggwanga lino erya Uganda olunaku lw'eggulo twabadde nnyo wabweru w'eggwanga mbadde nsaba era tusooke tukomewoko wano wadde tulina okuba nga tuddayo kuba amawulire mangi agali mu kubanga gatambula wabweru w'eggwanga katandikeko wano abasawo beeyongedde okuba nga beekalakaasa nga basuulawo ebikola bagamba mbu bo tebagenda kubanga bakkiriza kukola mu mbeera bwetyo abasawo bano nno si gwe mulundi ogusoose it's not the first time that they are striking we have seen this era ndooza omwami Arnold ajja kubanga bearing a witness nti wano twali wano ennyini nga twogera ku story lino nga abasawo bennyini abaali beekyanza abasawo beekyanga bagamba ssente zaali tezikola ki ze babawa ntono nnyo ate nga baagala okulaga mbu ebintu bye bakozesa mu mulimu gwabwe ate nnyo bya bbeeyi nnyo nabajjayo ne example we bagambira mbuno kana akantu oba akapima omutima gw'omuntu akawulira omutima ka mitwalo ndooza 37 naye kati just one equipment like that basic equipment that each doctor has to have begenda up to that amount of shillings kati olooza ebintu ebirala bagenda biteeka mu ssente nga mmeka so baadde boogera ku nsonga eno over time era president w'eggwanga lino omwami Yoweri Kaguta Tibuhaburwa Museveni yavaayo n'agamba abasawo nti bagenda kuba nga babongeza emisaala yakyogera ndooza gwali omwaka oguwedde in fact gwalina myaka ndooza yali 2020 nga yakatandikaawo n'abagamba bagenda kuba nga babongeza emisaala covid laba bwajja ne bagenderawo mpola ne baddamu ne boogera naye tebabawuliza kati beegasse mu kibiina kyabwe ekya Uganda Medical Association era bavuddeyo ne bagamba mbu bo basuddewo ebikola ng'abasawo jjukira aba intern doctors be basooka oba bano badokita abali mu kuyiga oba we mbankiyita aba intern doctors baali bagamba mbu emitwalo 75 gye babawa giba mitono nnyo era twaleetako intern doctor wano ku Mighty Drive wennyini n'atunnyonnyola nti emitwalo 75 era najo w'ogiraba nga baggyeko emisolo na biki ssente teziba nnyingi nnyo so aba intern doctors be basooka ne bavaayo era abadokita bannaabwe baba backing era nabo ne baddamu ne bawooninga ne bagamba ensonga zino eziba tezikoleddwako naffe tugenda kusuulawo ebikola era kyaddaaki olunaku lw'eggulo abasawo basuddewo ebikola ne bagamba nti bo tebagenda kuddamu kutreatinga gavumenti evuddeyo nno in different ways mu ngeri ey'enjawulo ng'egezaako okubanga ebapoteza mpolampola bannange muleme kubanga musuulawo ebikola bannayuganda babeetaaga because at the end of the day omusawo asuulawo ekikola oba ekyokuweereza that means government eyinza okuba tegenda kulumwa nnyo naye waliyo munnayuganda ali wali omulwadde abadde yeetaaga omusawo naabe ng'amulabako era ye yagenda ofuna obuzibu era kyekyo ekibaddewo nti amalwaliro agasinga twalabye olunaku lw'eggulo nga badoctors tebali ku attending to the patients ate ba patients be balwadde ate baba beetaaga eddagala so twalabye nga gavumenti yadde ina okuleetayo ba student doctors oba abaana abali mu kusoma obwa doctor bajje bagezeeko okuba nga baweereza bannayuganda oba bayamba ku bantu abalwadde mu malwaliro naye era omuntu gw'oguddeko obugewedde abadde alina maybe a chronic illness ng'alina specialist gw'abadde alaba specialist n'asuulawo ebikola that means it's going to be struggle for the fittest abatalina nsimbi bulungi bo bajja kuba nga tebasobola kuba nga beebeezaawo kati era abana abalinamu ku ssente bebajja okugenda mu private facilities basasule ku ssente basobole okuba nga babayamba naye gavumenti ndooza eyongeremu it's just a matter of prioritizing we know these people are essential workers ate covid-19 yalaze eggwanga lino nti nno abasawo tubeetaaga nnyo mu buli kanyomero ke tubeeramu so yalagidde eddala amazima nti nno abasawo tubeetaaga netwanika so it's time tujje nga bannayuganda tusooke twogereko ku nsonga eno abasawo bano beetaaga okuba nga balabe because these people are the author balina engeri gye bayambamu obulamu they help lives they help save lives of Ugandans so abasawo bo bavuddeyo ne bagamba nti beekandaze era bagambye paka nga babaletedde solution eri concrete oba nga babaletedde enkola egenda okulaga engeri gye bagenda okukolamu oba enkola ennuŋŋamu kanjogere bwetyo gavumenti gyetegese okubanga eyamba bano abasawo tebagenda kuddamu kubanga batreatinga bannayuganda abali. That is a very very sad story coming in right there from the Uganda Medical Association. Naye nga badde bakyogerako nnyo abasawo bano nga bagamba babayambe isitwakti tekuba na kuyamba okwo kuba wa kintu kye beetaagisa like they should be given what they actually deserve for fighting for the communities in this country. Ndoza tuveekaawo tugendeko mu ggwanga erya DRC. Uganda eyongedde okubanga ereetawo diplomatic rallying. Diplomatic rallying kwe kusaba amawanga amalala gakusooke gakudde emabega nga baagala okubanga bayingira eggwanga lino erya DRC Congo nga bajjayo be bayita abatujju aba ADF abadde babakolako obulumbagano okumala obudde kati. ADF eno yatandika okubanga ekola obulumbagano ku ggwanga lino erya Uganda era mu gyekyenda eyo ndoza mu 97 ndoza mujjukira abawala be bayokya wale Fort Poto mu Kichwamba. ADF kuva olwo badde ekola operations though yatuuka negendako under siege n'esooka esirikamu naye ate kati bagambye mbuno they reorganized and came back stronger. Bali eyo bekwese mu ggwanga erya DRC kati government ya wano according to the state minister for foreign affairs omwami Okello Oryem yavuddeyo n'akakasa nti no basaba permission okubanga bayingira eggwanga lino erya DRC. Naye the problem with Uganda and DRC ndoza mugimanyi tuyina ebizibu byaffe ne DRC bingi nnyo okutandikira ku ebintu bye twajja mu DRC ebintu bye tukoze mu DRC omwo okuva mu gyekyenda ne mu 2000 ndoza mujjukira nga by then Kabila ndoza senior Kabila nga afa yali 20 I think mutabani we Joseph Kabila alyoka amuddire mu ntebe. Ndoza olaba from that time tuwadde tulina ebikolobero bye tuwadde tukolera these universal bodies ezitugatta nyingi ezibadde zikyakonera ezikyaganye Uganda okubanga eyingira mu DRC kulwa ebintu bye tukola ne sawa zino by the DRC tubanja sente ziri eyo mu buwumbi ze tulina okubanga tusasula. So mu regard eyo because of the history we have had over time when we enter DRC things don't come out well. Ebintu tebivaayo bulungi oluusi wobeerayo okuttibwa okw'abantu oluusi wabeerawo okubba resources z'eggwanga lino. So n'omuntu takwesiga bulungi kugamba nti no katukirize Uganda eyingire. So Uganda ebadde esaba international communities oba eralinga the diplomatic ties oba amawanga amalala gagikkirize esobole okubanga eyingira ng'eflashing out abantu aba ADF. No gamba flashing out baba bategeeza okubanga basaanyaawo aba bayeekera aba ADF. Era president yavuddeyo n'akyogera lunwe nti if they don't give up webatakkiriza ne beewaayo ne basurrenderinga abasajja bano bagenda kubakwata tebagenda kubatta. President Museveni bw'atyo bwe yadde ng'ayogera. So according to ekibiina kino ekya SADC South African Development Community eyo SADC it's like a universal body etwalaganya oba etwala eggwanga lino erya DRC mwe bali ngaffe wolaba tuli mu EAC nga wolaba mu West Africa yo balina ECOWAS kati waliyo nene gye bayita SADC etwala amawanga gano agali maserengeta ga continent ya Africa. Yo yaganidde ddala yagambye tegenda kubanga ekkiriza Uganda okubanga eyingira DRC because of the history we have had in DRC. We tuyingira DRC tebitera kubeera birungi naye nga yo government ya kuno ebadde esaba ng'egamba banaye katuyingireko mu DRC omwo tusobole okubanga tukwata abo abayeekera. Jjukira twakola n'enguudo eyo mu DRC gye ziri era zinaatera okuggwa okubanga easinga transport and things like that naye tebivuddeyo bulungi era abasajja bano basadaka bakyaganye okubanga bakkiriza Uganda okubanga eyingira amatwale aga DRC. Jjukira ADF eri DRC abasajja bano bakoni yayingira DRC okujja kweyamala ye n'asalamu n'ayingira ne mu Central African Republic bwe tuwulireyo gyali naye bangi nnyo abantu abadde tebakkiririza mu gavumenti eno abayingidde eggwanga erya DRC. So abasajja bano abatibuhabulwa bagamba bannange oba abasajja ba gavumenti bagamba twagala tuyingire eggwanga erya DRC tujjeyo abantu abo abatigomya Uganda ne bagisuza nga ekukunadde. Ndoza tuveekaawo tugendeko wali mu ggwanga erya Ethiopia bannange olutalo lunyinyiitidde mu kibuga mu ggwanga erya Ethiopia lyerimu ku mawanga agatali colonized kuba njagala just kubajjukizaako eggwanga teryali colonized kyekisooka teryali ttwale lya ggwanga lyonna. Italy yagezaako okubanga eyingirawo naye ndooza mujjukira Italo-Ethiopian crisis eyaliwo abasajja bano ne bakuba emmundu paka we baasobola okubanga basisibugaza abasajja aba Italy. It was the first country by the way to defeat the Europeans in that time. Over time abasajja bano baasobola okubanga tebaali colonized. Then from that time, otwalabanga wave of independence atandika hovering all over Africa. Abasajja bano batandika nabo okuba n'ebizibu byabwe nga bba abantu. Abatigure omanyi eggwanga lino ddene nnyo to an extent nti abantu babeera divided in various schemes. Babeerawo nti waliwo eggwanga kati nga Somalia yo yeeyawula nako nefuuka ggwanga erinayo. Eritrea nayo ne yeeyawulako. Era Eritrea we yeeyawulako, that means eggwanga lya Ethiopia ne becoming automatically landlocked kuba bali be balina access to the seaport oba to the Indian Ocean. So abasajja bano over time we wadde batandise okwawukana, tulabye okwawukana nga kukulira ddala. Kati abatigure nabo bagamba kati omanyi ebintu bikyuse twagala kuddamu tuwambe gavumenti. Abatigure bano baaliko mu gavumenti eya Ethiopia by then ndoza mujjukira mu G9 era ne babajjako ba Ahmed Abiy. So babajjako okuva olwo wabaddewo okusikangana okutuuka abasajja abatigure bagamba kati naffe tuwagala kubanga tusesiidinga nga the Tigray region tubenga tuva ku south tubenga tuva ku Ethiopia etugatte eyawamu gye bayita mainstream Ethiopia. Mu kukola kino abasajja bali baganya mainstream Ethiopia bali under the Prime Minister Ahmed Abiy. Era ye Ahmed Abiy akakasizza abannansi ba Ethiopia nti bagenda kubanga balumba bano abaami ate yagenda okulembera battlefront. Era ye paka ssaawa zino kubanga olaba abatigure bazenga bawamba ebibuga ebyenjawulo, bawambye abamahara, bawambye ebibuga ebyenjawulo ebiri mu ggwanga lino erya Ethiopia. Ekibuga ekikyabulayo ekyamaanyi ye Central Business District oba capital yali neggwanga eya Addis Ababa. Nabagambye olunaku lw'eggulo nti babuzayo kilomita ezitawera na 3 okubanga bayingira mu kibuga ekikulu ekya Addis Ababa. Ahmed Abiy ye yagamba dda buli muntu oba omanyi nti osobola okukwata ekyokulwanyisa kyonna ky'osobola amagye gukategekena kubanga gayamba n'abantu aba Ethiopia mugenda kubanga mwegatta mukwate ebisi tugenda kubanga tulwanira eggwanga lyaffe. Bw'atyo bwe yagamba ono Prime Minister wa Ethiopia aliko omwami Ahmed Abiy. Kati wetwogeranga Ahmed Abiy yagambye agenda kukulemberamu olutalo olugendo olumba abatigure tebagenda kubanga baso. Naye nno abatigure bano basajja si baakuzannya kubanga baafugako lino eggwanga nga we nabagambye erya Ethiopia esigwe mulundi ogusoose nti bajja buzzi. That means they already know what they are fighting for. They have been there baba wangula then ne basobola okuwanga bajjako obuyinza naye tebaamatira. Kati abatigure bakomyewo okujjako kati waliwo ka conflict of interest wano mu ggwanga kubanga president oba omulaba yali kusaidia Ahmed Abiy Ethiopian Prime Minister naye mutabani wa president omuzu oba yaba mutabani omwami Muhoozi Kainerugaba ye ate ali kusaidia abatigure bakkiririzaamu. Kati awo ne wano tulinawo just ka controversy wakati wa taata ne mutabani n'ebyo bibyawo buli omu abira ne side ye. Naye abasajja bano abatigure basajja b'amaanyi basajja balwanyi era ndoza mulabye okubanga batuuse wano because abatigure oba owulira nti no bali mu kulwanyisa gavumenti eriko yetuuse n'okuyita abantu nti bannange mujja. Ate ekizibu kya Ethiopia ekirala kye balina nti balina ebitundu kumpi biri governed balina universal government naye otunulamu buli kitundu kirina kumpi gavumenti yaakyo, buli kitundu kirina amagye gaakyo. Somaliland erina amagye gaayo, Tigray balina amagye gaabwe, mainland Ethiopia erina amagye gaabwe. So every time you have conflicts nga buli side erina amagye, that means baba tebanaba kwemala bakiyita kwemala eggayaŋŋano. Yes, baba tebannakoowa. If we are to solve or if they are to solve the problem that Ethiopia has, the same with Libya, it has to be a domestic, it has to be a domestic, a domestic solution. Nti abantu benyini abamu Ethiopia balina okulwana ne bagamba naye tulwanyeeko ekimala. Nti omanyinga etulwanye ekimala katwesonyiwe n'ensonga ffenna tubeere mu mirembe ng'ekyali wano mu ggwanga lyaffe erya Uganda nti abasajja baalwana from 70 nga Uganda was under unrest from the 1970s ne bajja paka mu 86 ne bagamba nange tulabyeko ebibadde Luweero, tulabyeko ebibadde Kabamba, abantu bafudde lwaki tetuwummula. abantu ne balyoka basalawo nti omanyi kati tuwummudde. If it doesn't come to that, that means you are wasting your time. You are just wasting your time. Ate Ethiopia ereesewo ne debate endala eraga mbu when a country has already been sieged, kakozesa ekigambo ekyo, when a country has been sieged or has been ravaged by war, that means it is always, I think, balowoleza mu war every time. Nti eggwanga lino erya Ethiopia, wolaba enkulaakulana lyebadde lituuseeko, wolaba mbuno bebadde ba spearhead of politics in Africa, bebadde ekibiina ekigatta Abafrika bonna ekya African Union headquarters ziri wali mu Addis Ababa mu ggwanga lino erya Ethiopia. Nti badde bakulembeddemu okubanga baleeta enkyukakyuka ku lukalu lwa Africa, obuzibu obubaddewo nti bakyalina ekizibu kyawo, era every time instability eyangwa nnyo sparking off mu Ethiopia because olutalo baali baluwuliddeko balumanyi, so kibanguyira nnyo nti wogamba mbu tugambe mbu Ethiopian government eganya batigule bajja gamba tujja kwegwatta tulwane tujje tuwambe government ekyo nyinyi kibali mu kukola saawa zino. So when a country has been ravaged by war, it is always easy for it to get back to war again. Ekyo Ethiopia kyetandisa okubanga etuyigiza bana edakika zimpeddeko saawa endoza ziri 2 akaita ku saawa emu ndoza tugenda kubanga tuwumulamu we tukomawo omukyala Farida Bikobere anekaanekanye mujja kuba mumulaba agenda kuba yeegatiddwako Julia Muhumuza nga wena bagambye n'omwami bamuyita Roy Rugumayo, ono ye Secretary General w'ekitongole kino oba ekibiina ekya Uganda National Students Association, then n'omukyala Julia Muhumuza ye Vice President w'ekitongole kino. Bagenda kuba nga banyumyamu naffe tulabe engeri gye tugenda okuba nga tukyusa the education system in this country. My name is Karuhanga Edgar Matthew. Let's go in for a short commercial break. When we come back, the Mighty Drive starts now.
Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
You have got to get up pretty early to go do something. We are the Alternative Dig Talk. With our mobile studios, we are redefining TV presentation just as technology is setting the pace. We are blending our approach with fresh, perspectively designed breakfast show, The Mighty Drive, informative and entertainment show, exclusive and live interviews.
We President Museveni wadde juzi namulaba apima akawunga kilo 2 tasobola kalya nini bwaba alya kilo 5 oyanema okuliisa eggwanga ne bwe limundekera.
Njagala kwebaza the Alternative Dig Talk etuwadde kano ka Mighty Drive era n'abatuwuliriza bonna abali ku mikutu njagala basaba mugendo mu maaso n'okuwuliriza.
All given to you just a click away on your phone, tablet, laptop, and smart TVs. As we are streaming live on our social media platforms, on the road and on the go. We are the Alternative Dig Talk.
Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
A very good morning. Farida Bikobere is my name. It is a Tuesday, and I have student leaders with me. I'm going to be very humble because I have young people in the studios. I have, we are going to be talking leadership, politics. There are student leaders from UNSA, Uganda National Students Association. I have the Vice President, who is a woman, and the General Secretary. On my near left, my extreme left, I have the Vice President. They will be telling you who they are, and we'll be discussing the challenges that are facing as student leaders at UNSA, the impact of UNSA, has UNSA helped the students during this lockdown. Just get tuned, the page is The Alternative Uganda on Facebook. Please like the page, invite your friends to listen to the discussion, most especially the students. Our quote of the day is, if your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more and become more, you are a leader. If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. You see, it is said the function of leadership is to produce more leaders, not to produce more followers. So nina abakulembeze mu Luganda mujja kungamba oluzungu luyitiridde. So nina abakulembeze okuva mu UNSA, ekitongole ekigatta badangi Luganda luzibu okunnyonnyola ebintu ebimu kigatta associations ezo zonna from different universities. Is that right? Nayenga is association is post-primary, not primary associations. So on my near left, I have the General Secretary. Please introduce yourself, who you are, and if I've given you the right position or in UNSA.
Sure. My name is Roy Rugumayo, and you've rightfully introduced me as the General Secretary of the Uganda National Students Association. I am glad to be here.
Oh, I am also humbled that you've made it here. Yeah. On my extreme left, I have a woman, and she is the Vice President of UNSA. Oh, you say, please introduce yourself.
Thank you so much for having me. My name is Julia Muhumuza. And like you said, I'm the Vice President of the Uganda National Students Association.
Oh, thank you. We are happy to have you. This is the Mighty Drive. It always streams every day, Monday to Friday, 7 to 9 a.m. I am really, really glad to have you people. And I hope you will enjoy the discussion.
Yeah, sure.
People watching us out there, tebamanyi UNSA chichi, UNSA mukola mulimu ki. So you will be telling us what is UNSA, and she will be telling us the roles and objectives of UNSA. I'll begin with you. What is UNSA?
UNSA is Uganda National Students Association.
Yatandika di,
yes. UNSA began in 1988. After students of Uganda realizing the challenges they faced and the aspirations they had for the country, Bongabo. So you know, bisanga mu preamble ya UNSA constitution that it shows their understanding of what the African problem was, that we are a continent living under subjugation and a neo-colonial status. They had a country mad with sectarianism, with division and a lack of national consciousness. And they thought that as students who were endowed with enlightenment, having been a privilege to be in school also, they had to form a student association of sorts that would work towards addressing these challenges. So they met up, colleagues, friends by then, the likes of the Lieutenant Kana Katabazi and friends to form up this organization. It is the Uganda National Students Association, that brings together all students, post-primary students, that is secondary school, university, tertiary institutions, vocational institutes, everyone.
It goes beyond Uganda.
UNSA is Uganda National Students. But there are other organizations beyond UNSA that have a coverage beyond Uganda, like the East African Students Union, the All Africa Students Union. They are also there. But UNSA's mandate is Uganda.
Okay, yes. We will be discussing whether UNSA has lived to achieve
to
achieve those aspirations that I had in the 1998. Could you please tell us, Madam Vice President, could you please tell us the roles and objectives of UNSA?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but you could mix some Luganda if you know. Do you know some Luganda?
Yeah, a little.
A little bit. You mix for my audience.
Okay, thank you. The main objective of UNSA is on students' welfare. Oh.
Yeah.
Welfare chichi.
Like
Muluganda.
It's
okay to get it out.
To get it out. Like students' welfare. Okulaba nti abayizi basoma bayita mu kusoma like inangugwe.
Like embera nungi je bayita mu ngabala.
Yeah, because now you see, just like he said, UNSA brings together all guild presidents, all students, what are they called?
Leaders?
Yeah, students, leaders from all institutions across the country. So UNSA in this case will make sure that it advocates for the students. Again, like for example, when we have issues of like tuition, that in such a time like COVID, we would want to appeal to the government to reconsider at least okendeza ku tuition.
Yes.
Guild president tasobola chikola mu university because musomi in that university. But as UNSA, like you can really advocate for students across the country. What issues are they facing? What do you think is best for them to have to carry on? Right now we have an issue where USEs are being charged, yet they're supposed to be free.
To study for free.
Yes, exactly. This is where UNSA comes in. I don't know if you get. So everything about welfare of the students, everything about the well-being of the students, as far as education is concerned, UNSA will be fully hands-on in form of advocacy. And also, most importantly, how I see UNSA right now is, on top of advocacy, we as an association should be solution-oriented. Right now, we have many students that are going to be dropping out because they cannot pay fees post-COVID. Their parents are not working. And so what can UNSA do? Can we have like projects, programs, activities where students can engage in and try to raise at least tuition or school fees and go back to school? We have teenage pregnancies across the country. Can we have UNSA come in and motivate these young girls to at least go back and study? Yeah, so that is the
talking
role
about
of
it in the pregnancies, I would pick it from there. How have you felt the impact of UNSA during this lockdown period? Has UNSA helped any students during this lockdown? We've been in 2 years, and students, most of them reported back, others have been having online classes, and there are those students who don't afford a laptop, cannot even afford a smartphone like the one I am holding. Has UNSA in any way helped any student or students during this lockdown?
Maybe I should make it clear to the viewers that we are just newly elected.
You have been following, but you have been following the words of UNSA.
No, I wanted to start from there. So that's when they are throwing stones on the record, yes. We saw UNSA come in, especially during the lockdown when students were locked in their hostels. They could not move back. International students stranded in hostels. That is where we saw UNSA come in, try to mobilize things that they could use during the lockdown. But as far as tuition, adopting to online studying is concerned, we believe there's been a little bit of advocacy, which as the newly elected leaders want to increase momentum and really see if we can be a solution to when schools are adopting to the e-learning, because that is the way to go now.
It is the way to go, but a few weeks ago I was talking to some students from different universities who are like, UNSA hasn't helped us in any way. we've been having a lot of teenage pregnancies. Okay, I will excuse you and your leaders in UNSA. Have you done any programs to do awareness to these girls? Yes, now they are teenage mothers who are next. No, I'll excuse you. He's going to answer you.
Okay, thank God.
Well, I also want to first associate with her disclaimer.
That you are a new leader.
We have actually not yet sworn in. We have actually not yet sworn in. But regardless, the new leadership has continued to build on the momentum of the old leadership, more especially when it comes to providing solutions to some of these problems. I've seen our vice president on various talk shows raising awareness, because that's the beginning point.
Yes,
raising awareness that
sure.
these issues actually exist. And we are working together with people that have already been working on this. We're engaging the church. The other day I engaged MUWASA, the Lecturers Association, because they live in the same context. They know these issues and they can be very strategic partners in our bid to solve them. We have a fully fledged secretariat for women and gender issues, and I believe the person in charge of that docket, Hilary Asimwe, is a very able leader. She is going to be very vocal when it comes to these issues. I believe that many of these things have been happening.
For us, we do not judge books by their covers.
Yeah,
we want them to... we value actions.
Perhaps we all still enjoy the privilege of time.
Yes.
We are going to swear in on 2nd December. But the fact that we are seated here to tell the country that there is a genuine understanding of the issues that are happening about the students, about what happens next. And these things appeared in our campaign messaging, that what happens to the girl child who has been impregnated, is that the end of their life?
Yes.
No, UNSA is mandated actually to work in the best interest of that student. So we are looking at programs. We are planning strategically to make sure that there is genuine involvement for these students, for these young mothers, and we want the country to accept this, at least from the beginning, that this is not simply teenage pregnancy and that's all. There is abuse involved. There is child molestation involved, because these are underage children. And that is the beginning point, that we must raise our consciousness as a country. We must look at our conscience and say, how and when did we normalize this molestation to reduce it towards like child pregnancy? Okay? When at what point did we... Yes. At what point did we accept this abuse of children 16, 15 years to simply call it and brush it off as teenage pregnancy, and that's all?
It's because they are teenagers, and when gets pregnant,
why don't we call it the molestation that it is? That's the beginning point. How many people, how many perpetrators of this have been tried and charged in courts of law and are in prison for it? That's the beginning point. That's where UNSA should begin asking the questions.
Do people still have trust in the courts of law? Because if we are seeing this case of a university student who murdered a fellow student, and then the court gives him bail, and when the hearing are going on, the guy disappears, imagine on a murder case, and then the judge says, okay, ababe imilete $1,500,000 cash bail, never later sent, because the family has money.
Never later sent.
Million
Million,
case is closed.
Then because no, all of us, we are operating within this context. Do I want to say it was wrong to grant him bail?
No, but violates constitution.
I don't want to say that because was he guilty?
He was
Innocent until a competent court had to pronounce itself about his innocence or guilt.
Roy, I am not going to go to that
No.
discussion.
Okay, let's not go into all that.
We are not going
but
there.
tusoke tukiriziganye nti there is child molestation involved.
Yes, chitofu weri.
Nti whereas court system eyinza okubaamu ebituli ebyayo
Yes.
naye baatwalibwa mu kooti abaakola buno obuliisa maanyi ku baana.
Mothers aware nti omusajja oba omuvubuka bwa muwala we olubuto tomusaba ssente.
Kati awo we tulina okutandikira.
Tomusaba ssente mutwale omwana we
That's the
kyasoma.
beginning point. That's the beginning point.
We have a problem. Kubanga ogenda sanga nga most of these, me have had a chance to reach out to those in community that are victims to teenage pregnancy. Ogenda sanga nga mama ono mwana ate amuwaddeyo like genda obere n'omusajja, yet most times
because
bagala sente yeah one ate no omusajja already alina family, so ono mwana there is really no future there. So twagala kusaba ne bamama kubanga olaba eno kino ekintu okubaawo it's as a result of schools being closed. Fene gwanga twakkiriza nti essomero libadde playing a big role to shield these young girls from the sexual predators and all. Naye ate kati the role that we can play as UNSA cannot really do much. It has to be a collective effort. Inti n'omuzadde tumusaba omwana we aba afunye olubuto if possible sigaza omwana wo tomugabaayo because osobola okusigaza omwana wo after her giving birth gwe ng'omuzadde osobola n'omuwa chance naddayo n'asoma ekitasoboka ng'ate omwaddeyo mu mikono gy'omusajja eyamukozesa kubanga already balina family. Now on top of the young girl being pregnant agudde mu mikono gy'omusajja oluusi amukuba. So there are very many vices because now AIDS na so n'abazadde nabo
you are doing your role. N'abazadde bakola omulimu gwabwe ne government ekola omulimu gwabwe very collective responsibility. Okay, thank you. I want to come back to the General Secretary. Does UNSA have programs under mental leaders?
UNSA itself is a platform for mentoring leaders.
Thank you. That takes me to my other question.
Yes.
Looking at the leaders we have today, that means some are a result of UNSA mentorship.
Yes.
Do you think UNSA has done much in mentoring leaders, basing on the quality of leaders that we have today? Do you think UNSA has done its role in mentoring the right leaders to lead a country?
Well,
you tell us why, and she'll tell us why. She's already saying yes.
Because
I think to a large extent, UNSA has played a very pivotal role in platforming, first of all, in giving
a platform,
giving the country chance to be able to say, ono ajja kuba mukulembeze mulungi.
In identifying.
Yeah, in identifying. UNSA has played a big role. And when you look at the leaders at the national level, the likes of Honorable Tayebwa, the likes of the Right Honorable Olanya, the likes of, even in Iala itself, the likes of the Honorable Namara, the Honorable Odong, all of those are products of UNSA. Okay? And we cannot understate their contribution to nation building. Whether or not we agree with their styles of leadership is subject to discussion at personal levels.
And we are not going to discuss that.
At personal levels. But in as far as the objectives of leadership, which is socio-economic transformation, we can judge them fairly. They have made their modest contributions because society moves in these circles and silos, and the generations have their obligations, and to a large extent, many of these leaders have worked towards executing their generational mandates at various levels.
Madam Vice President, do you think UNSA, do you believe UNSA has done the rightful role in bringing up rightful leaders or quality leaders for this country?
True. First of all, you don't expect me to stop here, so you may host me at a later level as someone else in leadership. One, you know Dr. Lydia Naba. She's a very influential and really up to society change. She's a product of UNSA, and she was previously NYC chair. So what UNSA does, like you said, UNSA is the welcome to national politics, and it grooms you because it exposes you on how the system functions and the different people you should associate with. We have Winnie Nakandi, she's now ED Miss Chana Foundation. So you realize that even if some of these leaders do not directly go into politics, like maybe MP or something.
But they acquire the leadership skills
yes, they are placed in maybe like civil organizations. Now the Miss Chana Foundation is basically on sanitary towels to the young girls, building that kind of society change. So UNSA does not leave you the same. If you get a chance to interact with everyone, not everyone of course, but most of the people who've been in UNSA, you realize that they are visionary, because the 1 year you spend representing students, I mean students across the country, it exposes you to what exactly is going on in society. And as a leader, you wouldn't want to stop there. As long as you've gotten the experience on how you can serve the people for the better, you just become a better version. So that is all I can say about UNSA.
I think what UNSA does to the leaders that have been there is that it gives you a platform for national consciousness. Now, when you are in Mountains of the Moon University and you've grown up in Fort Portal and your entire life rotates around Green Circle Primary School, around Toro boarding, your consciousness is about the Toro people. Okay? Yes. But UNSA gives you the chance to look at Kabong as your issue. Okay? When I'm general secretary, I receive phone calls from students in Mbale. And their issues automatically become a matter of concern to me. Okay? When girl children are dropping out from school in Kabale, it becomes Julia's issue, even when she doesn't come from Kabale.
Exactly.
And that is the kind of leadership that we should be as a country. And UNSA gives us that background, that these things should matter to you. That when an RDC in Kasese shoots at a student, that should matter to Welunga of Mbale, because he's the president of UNSA. Okay? So that's the kind of leadership that UNSA gives.
Since girl issues are directed to Muhumuza because she's a girl, she'll have to tell us the challenges she's facing as a woman in leadership.
Hey, that's a really good concern, because fine, on the spheres we've seen women come up, but the truth is when you look at, now that we're talking students leadership, I should speak students leadership, you rarely find girls really into leadership. I come from MOOBS, and I once contested for guild president. Unfortunately I lost, but I gained the experience. And I want to say the terrain, the atmosphere, the environment on girls really participating in politics or leadership is harsh, because there are very many stereotypes. But again, we see women thriving, which we must appreciate. But the fact that we do not have a continuous participation of girls, like you'll see, Shamim recently won Makerere University Guild presidency. But how many years ago did we last ever have a female guild president in MOOC? Why you say we banga? So that is a concern. You keep asking yourself, why this lag? I'm not saying every year we should have a female guild president, but as long as we have continuous participation.
But why do you think girls are not getting interested in politics or taking up leadership positions?
Even when some actually choose to come up, if they are not discouraged, they will find it rough. Like, one, we have very many stereotypes around girls really participating in politics.
By joining, you will know it at heart. It is a rough road you've taken.
Yeah, when you choose to put your head in, you feel it.
Politics, no manya nti it is a rough road totwala yo it easy. At least ojja twala ekimotoka ekinene.
Yeah, but like it's really hard. And then naliko politics, like I said, I ran for guild president, and I know what it takes. Fellow women are naturally biased from supporting fellow women, so we do not have objectivity in choosing leadership. We have girls whose parents cannot allow them into leadership, yet they are capable leaders. Nayo mzade tasobola standing at the fact that omwana wange mu politics. Nedda. Yeah, and also like naturally women are also viewed as naye omuwala anasobola. So just those stereotypes really is affecting our girls. Nayenga, we are in such a time where we've had enough empowerment. We've had enough affirmative action. We have had enough civil organizations really come up and pull up girls to participate. Nengolaba, me I usually say, when you go back into school, mirandira mifu, ogenda secondary school, for you to find a head prefect who is a girl. Tibera musingo.
Echo chiri written and stamped. Omwala inakuba assistant.
Kati tell me how ogenda joining a university at a very good president. Elo jamba kwagala kubera bias. So awechiva no lavira dananga girls find naba participating in leadership, bagala participating ku dala lye bakulidde bamanyi, which is not the case. Women can actually represent.
Have you ever felt any resentment, maybe because from men or from some spaces I've gone to because you are a woman and people are like, Naya to gamba chala.
No, every time I enter a room, I make sure such biases are out. Kubanganze, I am an advocate for women to take up spaces. Eranga UNSA has given me a platform of reaching out to schools. These are things that Betusobolo Kutereza from schools. So if myself, I cannot shun that bias away, then how will I?
Like I'm moving with my head high to inspire that girl there. Mr. Roy, why do you think we should have women in leadership?
First, perhaps I would like to associate myself with what our able Vice President says regarding those hindrances. But also, let me speak more about universities.
Yes.
Is that the universities have taken a backstage from influencing what the normal trend of society should be, okay? And now the country, the society is influencing what the normal should be in universities. And we are living in a time where politics is continuously being highly monetized and very violent, okay? And that reflects in the kind of university politics. Very violent politics. Okay?
Violent yotegezaje?
Violent. No, like real violence.
Real violence?
Not in the literal terms. Not in the literal terms. But real violence. Or where people fight. Flexing, physical fighting. And
exchanging punches.
Exactly. And that is not a space that that attracts women. Okay?
Yeah.
Yes,
you are insinuating that women want soft things.
No. And I want to be clear about this. That's not what I mean. And you know that's not what I mean.
I do not know. I am actually knowing it's what you want to
No, I have participated in many guild campaigns and I've seen bottles jumping over people's heads. Now, that's not a campaign I would want my daughter to take part in.
But not that, want your son to
not
take
that,
part in
not that in any way I would want my son to take part in it. But and highly monetized as well. So these are injustices that place the girl child at a disadvantage. Why do I think women should participate? Because generally, I don't know whether there is proof for it, but I think women make better leaders. Okay?
You think?
Yeah, I really do think so. I really do think so. I can't prove it scientifically.
Okay, why do you think so?
But,
Don't prove. Just tell us why you think women make better leaders.
Because there is a track record for it. It's a track record. The Adekes did well as guild president.
And the Ballas didn't do well?
That's subject to discussion. That's subject to discussion depending on what side of the spectrum you lie on. The Sarah Njovas did quite well as guild presidents. The Right Honorable Rebecca Kadagas did exceptionally well. And the likes of Winnie Byanyima, exceptionally well. There are so many examples to show that women, while in positions of power and influence, do extremely well. And I think we just need to do the quality into quantity. Make their quality, the quality of women leadership more. And society will be transformed.
Thank you. We still have Roy. He is the General Secretary of UNSA, and Madam President, Julia Muhumuza. She is the Vice President of UNSA. We'll be going in for a short commercial break, and we'll be returning at exactly 8 a.m. I am Farida. And when we return, we'll be talking the challenges of the associations, why should people join associations even in university or schools, their impacts, and then the multi-party politics at campus. Has it helped or not helped? Please stay tuned. The page is The Alternative Uganda. You can engage in the discussion by commenting. Please share your views. Tag people to enjoy the discussion. I hope you are enjoying and learning a few things here and there. A very good morning. We are returning in a few minutes.
Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Nze omubejjalu wedde Lilian mbaniriza maka gaffe amajja era nga wano wetugenda okuba nga tukolera programu yaffe emanyiddwa nga The Voltage gaba masanyalaze gennyini era nga twogera ku bintu ebyenjawulo omwo nno mwe muli ebigenda mu maaso mu ggwanga, ensonga z'ebyobufuzi n'obukulembeze bw'eggwanga Uganda, twogera ku nsonga ez'abavubuka, eddembe ly'obuntu awamu n'ebyenkulaakulana. Togisubwa buli lunaku olwokutaano eba ssaawa emu ey'akawungeezi paka ssaawa 3 ez'ekiro.
The Diaspora Link buli lwakuna ssaawa 11 paka ssaawa emu ey'olweggulo ye program gye tukuleetedde wano ku Alternative Digital Uganda. Tugenda batutunulira embeera z'Abannayuganda, baganda baffe, bannyinaffe zibawangaaliramu mu mawanga ag'ebunaayira. Bangi banyigirizibwa, bangi bakosebwa, bangi bayisiddwamu amaaso. Naye tugenda batutunulira engeri gye tusobola okulongosaamu embeera zaabwe. Tugenda kuba tulaba abo abakwatibwako abateekeddwa okuba nga balongoosa embeera zino eno. Tosubwa buli lwakuna n'omuweerezaawo Nixon Segawa.
Hello everyone, my name is Abdulatif and I welcome you to the Hotline Show here at the Alternative Dig Talk as we discuss issues of national importance. Join us every Monday 7 to 9 p.m. and see who will be occupying these seats here with us. Keep it Dig Talk, real issues, real talk.
Hey Ugandans, I'm Lieutenant Colonel Dewa Kiki, the Deputy Defense Spokesperson and actually the Deputy Spokesperson for the Uganda People's Defense Forces. I was hosted on Alternative Dig Talk. I encourage all Ugandans that this is the way to go. Always watch, participate, give your views and ask questions on Alternative Dig Talk. Dig Talk, the way to go.
Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Tuchagenda maaso ne discussion ya it is the mighty drive ebera every day Monday to Friday sawa ebere mweyo kumacha akasawa sato. This is our second hour of the show. I still have the Vice President of UNSA and the General Secretary. Twogera nsonga za UNSA, twogera nsonga za aba students, twogera challenges ze bafunye nga ye omwana omuwala okuba nti alina ogufo ogunene mu UNSA, challenges zafunye muzulidde waliyo gender sentiments ezibeera zikolebwa mukyala atasaana ekifo. So banga oli mwana muwala nga you think or you would want to take up any leadership position, please tune in. You might learn a thing or two. So page the Alternative Uganda. Mkwano genda yo to liking it, following it. Don't forget to press the notification button. Agenda kubanga ate ofuna notification every when we go live. Tuchali ne mighty drive egendera ddala paka sawa sato. This is not a drive because we are in the studios, but it is the name of the show because it is sometimes hosted in the van. This time they are privileged to be in the studios. We didn't want to drive them around. Next time we will be driving them around certain universities and showing them the students' problems and telling them you are not doing enough. Since they are new leaders, we didn't want to say that because they haven't been in those positions for too long. Someone just said, what are you doing in your 100 days before you swear in? I'll begin with you, Roy.
Okay. I think my main objective, what I am looking at most is it is a solemn obligation upon me to raise the level of discussion from the petty issues like what we eat, what to drink, okay, to issues of social, economic and political significance that
instead of handling issues of university.
Yes, those issues that underpin our very existence as an African people.
Issues.
Yes, because whereas we might sit down and discuss food,
we are not discussing food per se, we are discussing welfare now.
Stop
narrowing it to food.
Exactly. There are other issues
that are also important.
That are very important, actually, that mean it all, okay? We might sit down to discuss, take for instance, the idea of privatization of halls of residence in the various universities. And it can be a big discussion, those for and those against. But until we...
And the students bothered. You might think it is a big issue for discussion, but when the students are not even bothered.
I live with the students, and it's a big issue. It's a very contentious issue. But until we understand, perhaps we go back to the structural adjustments programs, where government is saying having students accommodated is not core business of the state. Okay? Where universities are saying giving you food is not core business to us. And until we go back to that of what constitutes core, then bino byetubeera tuwogerako nti emmere embi bichi tubeera we are nursing symptoms. Okay? So before we discuss Tegu's shooting on campus, a student, before we go into that, we must understand where did this militarization come into university educational space?
Yeah.
We must discuss the state of human rights, the state of our democracy. These should be issues that concern the university student. And if I can do that in 100 days, even if I resigned.
Even if you don't say,
yeah.
No,
even if I'm not saying I would resign.
But even if you resign.
To be the average Ugandan student.
You will have achieved your goals.
Yes, the average Ugandan student bwatandika okulaba nti budget y'eggwanga emukwatako. Nga tetunayogera nti lwaki tetusoma. Student, the average student bwatandika okubuuza ebibuuzo nga budget y'eggwanga tuli mu COVID. Tuli mu COVID. Abaana bali waka. Tusazeewo nti bagenda kubeera online. Naye ate nga bongeddeko 12% internet tax. When that becomes an issue of the Ugandan student, then I would have achieved.
Bagamba data wokusoma tagenda kubeera taxed. How they are going to identify it is for kusoma and this is for social media? Don't ask me. I also don't
exactly.
know.
Kati nze muzine ennaku ekikumi. I want to raise the level of conscientization. Nze nja kuba mmaze.
Madam Vice President, what are you up to in these 100 days?
100 days. Waliwo ekibuuzo kyewadagala okubuuza nga tutandika naye ntakibuuza wetagala otandikira. Olaba UNSA gye baatandika lost track along the way neva kumulamwa. Right now masomero mangi, very many students do not know what UNSA is because I don't know, maybe because it's just
because it is office-based. We operate in offices. So you do not go out.
When I had the vision of UNSA, my only sole aim was I want an organization, an umbrella for all students, being there for the students. In the first 100 days, these are the days where amongst which students were going to babaddayo ku ssomero, right? Ababadde waka for 2 years or so.
Yes.
So one, as UNSA, our main agenda is to regionalize our programs. That will call for regional tours to go and see what exactly is going on in East as people are reporting back. What is going on? What are the issues? Is it still tuition? How can UNSA layers katayogede kucha internet tax? Oja realizing anti ebizibu kati byetu affecting our students. Some of the problems have become general because of COVID. When we talk about school dropouts in Kampala, Mbale, Erina, Kabale, Erina, Lira, Erina, so across the country we have the general problems, newaduo nezili marginalized. So in the first 100 days, twagala komyawo UNSA chibere chitongole chaba easy. UNSA that will know what exactly is going on amongst the students, and then UNSA that would advocate. Eli ku ground. Aha, ochirese bulungi. Eli ku ground nga tutegeera what is. Ate ekirungi, like when we were voted, oja realizing that mulimu be voting nga they are best in East. Bo basomera East, mulimu abayitamu nga bali mu West, mulimu abayitamu nga bali mu North, ne mulimu na coordination becomes easy. So UNSA in the first 100 days, UNSA we better on ground. It will be easy for all the programs that twagala later okuyamba abayizi to raise tuition. Maybe it will be easy for all those activities to go on. So 100 days is based on UNSA to be on ground and to really be there as students are reporting back, okumanya the problems and how we come in as an association.
Questions Zinzita. I'll be going through some questions. Some are alleging, so you will make it clear is it true or not. Pato webali kubira Kongo laba. Nagamba, it is a poor Ugandan and African mindset to categorize women and girl child as vulnerables. Women today have access to information, positions of leadership and resources like men do. Our poor mindset tells us they are still among the vulnerable in the society. I want to read out your allegation about UNSA Batutereze. Congrats to the new leadership. I wish you all the best, but UNSA was captured by the regime and it is serving the selfish interests of the status quo at the expense of million students. In a country where institutions of state and non-state are not people-centered, such institutions like UNSA, Youth Council, etc. tend to lose relevance. That
is a big allegation.
It is an allegation? Clear there.
Well, we must respect them for that opinion, because everyone must have an opinion, really.
You're right.
But I think we must judge our UNSA not based on our biases, but on the objectives and how far the leadership is in position to push towards the attainment of those objectives.
But before we judge their opinions, why do you think people are having such opinions about UNSA? Is it because it's not doing its mandate as it's meant to do it?
No, first, because everyone has a right to an opinion.
Yeah, you're right.
Second, is because there is a track record also to support those opinions. That we've seen those fears totally fulfilled in certain times of UNSA's existence. But that entirely depends on individual leaders and their individual interests in UNSA. And we've articulated our interests in UNSA, what UNSA we envisage to see, at least within the time we are in, and we hope it continues, really. An UNSA that is back to its core objectives, which is the welfare of the students. Do
you agree it had backtracked?
That depends on your point of view, but I also want to associate myself with his thinking. There are times when we have seen
when you do
UNSA,
not make independent
when we have not seen UNSA doing what it is supposed to do. Okay, in times where students of Makerere University or Chambogo University come out to say tuition is so high, and we have a right, actually a constitutional right, to affordable education. Exactly. Okay? In those times, UNSA did not come out to stand with the students. Yeah. And so those sentiments genuinely rise.
Near 12% tax tenavayo.
Yes.
Tenavayo, and we are waiting for UNSA to speak, because, I mean, if you do not speak, who will speak?
No kutakwa tegu. Tenavayo. Okay? No...
That actually sums up everything, and
tulina omulimu munene. Ekirungi nti tiimu eriwo etegeera bulungi omulimu, ekatale eririwo. Kati tulina emyezi esatu mu mwaka gumu gwe tugenda okukola ki, zeze ennaku 9. Njagala tukomewo wano. Tukole assessment. Tugambe nti kati ku mwaka guno mwakakolako emyezi 3. Kati tutuuseewa. Because kuba tulina okubeera accountable to the students and to the country. Because these are actually UNSA's mandate nene nnyo. Tulina abayizi obukadde 15. Naye abayizi abo balina abazadde. So ojja kusanga nga mandate yaffe eri mu bukadde 4 ey'abantu who we have to be accountable to. So those sentiments are totally understandable, they are totally understood. Naye ffenna tuluubirira UNSA egenda okubeera nga Vice President kyagamba. An UNSA that is awake. That is awake to the realities that the Ugandan student is facing on a day-to-day basis. Eyo UNSA fena gitwagala. Oba oli mu NRM, oba oli mu opposition. Kubanga yo internet tax temanyi kibiina kyo, era temanyi ddiini yo. Kati UNSA bwevaayo n'ekyogerako, n'ekikaatiriza. naawe kikukolera. So ffenna tuluubirire UNSA egenda okubeera ki nzigumivu ku nsonga zino ezikwata ku muyizi ezikwata ku Munnayuganda.
Thank you. Edgar Mashukarahanga says, UNSA advocating for students is a good thing, but we haven't felt its entity in the private universities especially. Is there a reason why your activities have sidelined these universities, Madam President?
One, Chovana Tansenga Kugamba fe UNSA jetulese ya kuground because UNSA nga jogambye, like basically about the Kampala. The fact that the headquarters are based in Kampala. Yeah, so they had not stretched out. Nengamba, the good thing we have with the new leadership, first of all, we had spaced out in different regions of the country. Echigendo tuyamba to really be on ground. It has been felt that's the reality. Because there are very many things that have happened in students, like affecting the students' fraternity, and we've not had the position of UNSA, which has happened. But we are here because I trust that this new leadership will actually be there for students.
Something.
Yeah. Njagala kudamu ole yagambye mbu it's a mindset that women are not in leadership. I think that sounds more like a Kampala argument. I've had a chance to, because this is a national election, we've had our campaigns across. So when you are in northern Uganda, eastern Uganda, those distant places, you will know what it means for women not being in leadership because of a mindset. It's true, it's genuine, but there are also other factors that should not be neglected. Cultural factors, social norms, stereotypes, and all. Exactly, we have those societies and they're still rigid and they exist. So if we take it like it's a mindset, we should just be like, you know what, if you want leadership, take it on. If you do not want, man, yeah, which is not the case. So we still need the collective effort. That is why the civil organizations that advocate for women in leadership are still vibrant and exist, because there's actually still a genuine cause. If it was still a mindset, then I don't think the civil organization would even exist in the first place. But again, I want to, first of all, educate the public on why some of the UNSA regimes have not been active. We usually, the fact that it's a national election, you know what happens in national election. You can win the election, the next thing you know, you've been sued to court. And court will issue an injunction and will freeze all your activities. Before you know it, omaka guwedeko mulimu court. So we also have these mafias in society, and for crying out loud, okay, fine, what are you gaining with the leadership being injected from operating the full year? Students are losing out. We had that on Winnie Nakandi's regime. Bali bakayingira. And the rest of the year, they could not do anything. Yeah, exactly. So if we have these other factors into play, we might say we have a vision, but before you know it, a mafia there is also planning court things. And as soon as we are injected, there is nothing we shall do. So in the end, like we are losing out because of really not genuine reasons. So this is just...
So you are defending their
I'm not defending all of them. But I'm just trying to note out some of the few things that have really made it not possible for them to impact what they should have impacted. But again, that is not an excuse. That is just showing you that as some students are taking on positions to serve genuinely, there are also mafias just willing to sabotage them. And sometimes these are the people you run against or something of the sort. But as the new leadership, we are really determined and ready to serve the students. That's what I should say.
Many have on several occasions accused the ruling party for having took over UNSA leadership, and that everyone who is voted should be from the Yellow House. How better should the associations be liberated to work for students, not a political party? Kiriziganya ne challenging bwa kigambibwa nti buli alondebwa olina okuva mu kala yellow kirungi ogibalansinze bulungi black yellow red because I am also putting on yellow siwa yellow black yellow red naye gwe bagambye toli wa yellow
anze ndi muna Uganda
no muna Uganda abera ko wangwa n'aba yellow nabo bana Uganda.
My political allegiance entirely lies on the flag of Uganda and on the general welfare of the Ugandan people. That's I think that should be the general rule in all political parties, that regardless of where you lie, your first allegiance must be Uganda. That in all your interests, Uganda first. Nga tonabera wa yellow, nga tonabera wa red oba wa blue, soko bere Uganda. Echo kisoke tukijje mu ddiiro. Nti wabawo interesting eri national kati nga national security katugeze nti tetugenda gizanyirako byabufuzi. Nti wabeerawo issue nga okusoma kw'abaana baffe. The education of our children, that is an investment into the future of our country. We are not going to play politics about it.
Everything is being played.
Nati awe wali obuzibu. Awe wetu inosoko okutereza.
Nengo okirizibwa na allegations za mukulu anonymous koseti.
Ate yandibadde mu kifunga.
No,
We have people who are in other political parties but they are yellow munda muli. Anga green kungulu.
Ono nedda.
Nengo mu defending the
Kati njagala kukiriziganya naye partly. Naye not entirely nti wina kubeera wa yellow. No, nti naye bannaffe.
Naye nga 70% wina kubeera wa yellow.
No, toyina kubeera wa yellow. Nti naye bannaffe aba yellow. Ensonga zino ez'obukulembeze bwa UNSA n'obukulembeze bwa NYC. Bazitwala ng'ekikulu.
Kati ate bo bazitwala ng'ekikulu. Other political parties are not getting interested.
Kati ani yali flag bearer w'ebibiina ebirala mu bululu buno. Okitegeera nti interest naye inosooka okubeerawo. Other parties, all parties should take deliberate
interest
moves
in the leadership
of these things. Nti kati ojja sanga nti kyekibiina kya NRM kigenda kujja kiteeke tuli 12 abeesimbyewo nga buli wamu kiinawo candidate kimuteeke mu ssente ng'ekibiina era bwe kisuubirwa okukola eri candidate waakyo. Nti kati ojja kusanga nti ku 12 kiinako 11 kiinako 9. So tekitegeeza nti olina kubeera wa yellow, naye nti yellow ebadde eteekawo ki ku effort. Nti naye the likes of Aba yaliko mu UNSA nga yewe FDC nganze nga finance waffe wajema naye mwali mu UNSA naye yali ava
natwala ekinene.
No, finance and administration tekaba kafo katono. Obwa genoseke si kafo katono nti bwova ku president waffe Welunga noddako Julia obodda kunza ate. Ako si kafo katono era naffe aba opposition twejjirayo ogufu.
Muli mugafo.
Hatuli mugafo munna. Kati nze byenina okkolera abayizi. Bina kuba bingi nnyo nti omwaka gumu bwe guggwa omuntu omulala ava mu kibiina kyenvaamu bwajja bakyagamba naye track record ya Rugumayo teyali mbi. Nti n'olwekyo bano be tuba twesiga ku bifo nga bino okitegeera. So NRM taking interest nnyo mu bintu bino. Kati I would like to challenge other parties, our opposition parties. Let's take effort because these are platforms for youth mobilization, for recruitment into general political parties. So let's take an effort, bring candidates and support them. Nze nawagirwa bantu bangi. Ndojja kusanga nti posta zange zagulibwa Honorable Kabuyi Wanupu. Ojja kusanga nga transport zange moving around the country Honorable Michael Kabaziguruka wa FDC, ba Honorable Dorini Nyanjura wa FDC. Ojja kusanga nga ba Honorable Helen Wanupu. Naye natambulira mu bannaffe kubanga nze be nali mmanyi munnaye. Ebe nali manyi byali mikwano jange ate jatekinga interest mu kalulo kange nti bwe tukola kye kimu ojja kusanga nti naffe aba opposition tujjeyo ebifongo bwa president.
So we are challenging the opposition leaders to also take
real keen interest into this.
Mu leadership ya UNSA.
Ya UNSA ya NYC kati ani yali candidate wa opposition mu NYC chairperson. Nti ojja kusanga nti NRM divasinga ne yali takiriziganyiza n'akalulu ke NRM ke yali abaddemu.
Madam President, do you agree with the allegations that NRM take a munyo sente nyingi to scare away other candidates?
Okay. NYC, yes, NRM is fully hands-on, but UNSA is a non-partisan organization. Fine, we all come. Me, I contested on NRM flag in my former guild presidential race, but my campaign was fully funded by my parents and friends. What am I trying to show you is, fine.
You want to distance yourself from any funding from NRM?
From allegations that NRM actually funds. Because for me, it didn't. They are watching me, they know. I'm their person. I contested on NRM tickets. I'm affiliated to NRM. But I want to say that me contesting, me running, I didn't... In fact, even my opponent, she's from NRM. I don't know if you get it. No, listen. Listen. The attachments of... I do not run as NRM. When you look at my poster, it did not have yellow. What am I trying to show you is, UNSA is non-partisan. When I'm running...
Oh, I have a call. Just a moment. Hello, good morning. You are on the Mighty.
Yes, good morning. My name is Muhumuza. I'm calling from Masaka.
Yes.
A quick one. First of all, I want to appreciate the efforts of those two young people, Muhumuza and Rugumayo. I have these questions for them. One, I think I'll begin from what Julia has just stated. What motivates such a brilliant young lady to support NRM? Maybe we need to hear from her. What is it that motivates her? As in her and maybe her fellow young people. I'm just surprised. Two,
Sorry, we didn't pick the second question. We lost you. Please call in again and we get the second question. You had three, we only got one. Julia, what motivates you, a young, brilliant lady, to support NRM?
I was still explaining. We are in UNSA for the cause of students. Let people not be misguided. I got votes from people affiliated to NRM or not NRM because as students, I don't even understand why we have parties in our guild.
Hello?
Yes.
I am back. I hope I wasn't switched off because I talked about NRM.
It was your network.
Muhumuza here in Masaka. Okay, let me assume so. I have read that Julia is a leader in East African Youth Parliament. In her wisdom, does she find it relevant? Is there any tangible achievement for such a mockery parliament, East African Youth Parliament? Because we have seen civil society is sponsoring some mock parliament every year. Does such mock parliament sessions have any relevancy? Or it's simply coming there, you have the swagger, like young people call it, move around and just do, is there any relevancy? One of the second last questions.
Yes.
What is it that is causing the inconsistencies in young people? Rugumayo talks about a Berillian and so many others. What happens thereafter with how they transit from opposition and then end up, in government? Is it the Chigati thing? I think, isn't Roy Rugumayo the product? You know that thing of Lumumba, the Chigati team. Is it about Chigati things or what? And finally, what can we do as young people to change the status quo, as in this poor governance and the rest? Otherwise, thanks for you guys putting on some yellow.
question.
No, man, yellow is one of the colors in the Uganda flag. So we are Ugandans and we love the colors of the flag. So you wouldn't be actually telling us, questioning us where we're putting on yellow or red or what. Those are colors on the Uganda flag. So we love and we are Ugandans. We appreciate who we are. Questions zibadde nyingi. Ezisooka zigenze wa Julia, what motivates her as a young, brilliant woman to support NRM, and two, the relevance of the East African Youth Parliament. He calls it a Mokari Parliament, and so you could actually pick it up from there.
One, what motivates me to support NRM, really amongst all the parties in Uganda. NRM is the only party. I'm a politician, I read and yeah. So it's the only one that has principles that really align with
what you believe in.
With what I believe in. The question of whether they are stuck with the principles or not is subject to everyone's opinion. But I believe so much in Pan-Africanism and being a leader that is intended not to stop at Uganda, but go as far as Africa is concerned.
Yes.
It's that principle that really aligns me most with NRM. But like I was saying, I'm not in students' politics because I'm NRM. Even when I was running for Guild, I was not running because I'm NRM. But because these parties were fixed in university politics, I don't know really why, which should be a debate because I'm one of the people that believes that sometimes we get derailed from voting capability to voting a political party. Yes. So in UNSA itself, I tell all my colleagues, and I want to always tell the public, that we are not here because of our parties. We are just here for the students concerned. And tell me, you'll be honest that we shall be on talk shows to speak what is affecting the students and what agenda we have for the students.
Regardless of the political parties.
You will never hear us speak for what NUP has in plan or NRM. No, we are not doing that. There are people who are in NRM caucus that will do the job for the party.
Yeah, so take us through the relevance of the
then,
East African Youth
the
Parliament.
relevance, this was my first time there, but the track records of the East African Youth Parliament, usually we have resolutions, but concerning the youth, you see, one, we should appreciate that youth are marginalized in terms of direct participation in politics. You look at the structures of ELA Parliament, how many of them in ELA Parliament are actually youth? So that is where the East African Youth Parliament comes in. They throw some resolutions back to the East African Youth Parliament, and you will have youth from Uganda. You'll see that most of the youth are from the structures of the National Youth Council because they know what exactly is going on. So the stages are, we have regional parliaments. You had Central, East, West, and North. Then from that we had the National Youth Parliament. From the National Youth Parliament then to the East African Youth Parliament. Its relevance is because we are youth. One, I believe, it's one of the basis of research because we are better placed to speak what exactly affects us. Though I really feel like we should not stop at just engaging in these parliaments, but actually taking up space to be in the exact parliaments to debate
But people have spoken. You see, discussing issues are not doing
No, we do not. I got a chance as elected clerk. Now that is where I'm better placed. So the clerks and the elected speaker have a job to follow back on these issues. In January, we are called back to IALA to present the resolutions that we passed in our parliaments. And later on, they are attached to, those that are picked by IALA are attached to different committees, and the follow-up is effected from there. So this is just not a ceremonial thing, like they call it. It actually has, it creates impact in terms of follow-up. Not everything that is really debated and discussed is passed, but the fact that 2 to 3 or 4 resolutions may be passed and allocated to committees, and then we, the clerks and the speakers, pick up from there, attach to committees and follow up. It is something that we should appreciate. The youth are marginalized, like I said, but existence of National Youth Council in Uganda shows us that there is still a job, a role that we are playing as far as effecting change in our society is concerned. So even when we have these spaces at National Youth Parliament, East African Youth Parliament, as long as we get our voices heard and we also effect in putting these resolutions into action, then it's not ceremonial.
You talked about the youths being a marginalized group, I agree, but don't you think the youths have gotten stuck to being marginalized and haven't done anything? And the few of you who are coming up, they have actually gotten comfortable being marginalized. And they are not doing anything, and they're not coming up to take up spaces, even positions. They are just there with their claims, we are a marginalized group, and you are not doing anything at all to get away from the marginalized groups and take up positions.
I think, yeah, we've had that series, but that series of being comfortable and all, but the fact that we are the majority and now you see very many vibrant young leaders come up, you realize that they have actually come out of the comfort zone. They are not only breeding themselves into the transition and all, but they also accept that we now need to be actively engaged. Yeah, that's why I told you, you see me in UNSA, but I'm not stopping at UNSA, because I carry the spirit of change and impact of Uganda at large at heart. Yes. So you do not expect me to stop here. But again, we have the existing youth structures that, for me, I believe by virtue of affirmative action, it already explains why the other people is marginalized. I will not ask you if this is about affirmative action. But about affirmative youth actually coming up. Youth are coming up. My observation, and I really see it. And trust me, in 2026, you'll see many more youth directly take up space to be in.
Mr. Roy, Secretary General. Lwaki aba student leaders muli nnyo bakigati team babasuubula kiro misana babasuubula leero oli wa FDC nkulu n'akuwayo kale zaakuwadde n'okyuka n'otandika okuva ku issues z'abaana n'otandika okukolerawo omuntu omulala. We have seen that in Makerere University, and it is no debate. It is not a question for debate. It has happened. The Abbas you are referring to were very, very radical people, and yeah, here they are. Lwaki mufuuse nnyo bakigati team? Si chemical.
Bamukubye chemical. Oyinza okuddamu mu hostinga ng'ali mu yero n'ogamba Roy.
Nedda. Yero nja kugiteekanga mu red ne black. I think it goes back to si bavubuka. It's not a youth issue. Yes, it's a national issue. Kuba tetusobola kugamba nti bavubuka bokka bebeetaddeko price tag. Waliwo n'abasajja abakulu abagenda mu 7 betulabye nga basala.
Nanti ffe tusuubira nti abavubuka mulina endowooza ez'enjawulo.
Anaatera n'ofuna retirement ng'ate n'ebifo ebyenkizo mu opposition abifunye. Nti actually ali ku peak of power.
Olina gw'olumba?
Nedda siina naye n'olaba nga asaze eddiiro. I think it goes back to conscience y'omuntu.
Oba mulimu politics for money?
No. Waliwo ebintu ebimu bye tulina okwagulengako ng'eggwanga. Nti ono tebamugulagulaendayo bugenzi. Waliwo ebintu ebimu bye tulina okukanyaako ng'eggwanga. What is the acceptable standard of human dignity in this country? Nti beyond this point, oba osusiza national standard. Nti ekyo tekikusuubirwa kukola ng'omunnauganda. We tulina otandikira. What is inhuman? What is what can constitute
naye okusuubula kikkirizibwa?
No, kati oguliddwa ki? Nze leero Julia ne mutuuza wansi ne tuwogera ku nsonga eziri mu ggwanga, ne mulaga agenda yaffe, ne mulaga kyonna ekiriwo. Enkya Julia n'akomawo ng'ali mu beret. Julia abaaguliddwa?
No. Osanga obeera omukonvinsi?
Mbeera mukonvinsi nze. Kati ng'oggyeko abantu okusala ebibiina, kuba tubiraba nnyo ne mu Kenya biki oli n'asala n'adda mu Jubilee biki n'adda eno n'adda eri. Nti tulina okuddayo mu what are the acceptable standards? What is considered integrity? What is considered petty? Byonna ne tubikaanyaako ng'eggwanga. Then we can move forward. Naye what are the objectives ezabo ba leaders? Nazo tulina zitegeera. Is their objective power? Is it service? So
oba bitibwa.
Nakyo bwe tukitegeera nti tetugenda bakanyugira nnyo mayinja. Kuba oli bwe tutegeera nti ye kyayagala kubeera mu palamenti. Nti DP bwebanga leero yegenda omuyisaawo muna DP. Nti leero enkya bw'enaabanga waliwo omuyaga omuzenga gwe gugenda omutwala nti yenkya wa Nuupu. Naye abaaguliddwa.
Nawe oguyisa muyaga?
No, mbuuza. Abaaguliddwa. Maybe abataguliddwa. Naye is that the acceptable standard of integrity?
No.
Tetumanyi kuba teriiwo.
Integrity.
No teriiwo kuba kati tetunakikaanyaako. Okitegeera. Nti tetunakikaanyaako nti kati beyond this point oba otususseeko waliwo oba osusse we tukoma ffe ng'Abannayuganda. Okitegeera. So we must go back on the drawing board as a country and find a national conscience.
So finalizing everything you're saying, they are convinced to cross to where they cross to?
No, I've given you many scenarios. I've given you many scenarios. They could have been convinced. They could have been bought off because of their objectives. Okitegeera. Nkuwadde scenario nyingi. Naye
nemaliriza. Roy objectives zo ezaffe ng'aba NRM lwaki totwegattako? Singa eri gy'oli.
Kati ne bantuuza ne baŋŋamba omanyi okkiririza mu katugeze pan-Africanism. Ate naffe bye tuliko. Patriotism naffe bye tuliko. Mazima ddala Roy. Kyangu tukole. Ne bambuulirira biki. Kati n'osanga nga tebampadde yadde ekikumi. Tebampadde yadde ekikumi. Naye nga bandaze. N'encrossing nenzira mu DP.
Speed nnyo yakuyitako comments zamwe bemba sisomye. I'm really sorry. The comments are really many and I do not have time. Harry Mwebesa agamba congrats Julia and Roy for the great insights on UNSA. Wish you the best as you go by. Tugenda kwogerako ku multi-party politics. Oli munyivu nnyo kukwezo and their impacts. Multi-party politics. Impacts is I have a call.
Hello?
Hello, good morning. Are you live on the mic drive?
Good morning, this is Nyang Desire. I'm calling from Jinja.
Yes, nice to hear from you.
Yes, thanks for the show. First of all.
Yeah.
I have like 3 questions.
Yes.
The first question is there an African Youth Parliament? Like, does it exist? And if not so, are there any plans for people to have one, like an African Youth Parliament? Because I heard she's the speaker for the East African Parliament,
Youth Parliament.
But an African, now the African Parliament in general. Then the second question is,
yes,
I heard when you join UNSA, you're supposed to pay some amount of money. And so how do the students get the accountability for the money that is being collected?
Yes, accountability. Your last question?
Yes. Then the last question are there efforts? This UNSA thing seems like an uptown entity, more so in uptown schools. So are there efforts for these UNSA guys to teach people about the importance of this UNSA thing in the rural areas or the hard-to-reach areas?
Thank you very much. Your questions have been registered. They will be answered by the General Secretary and the Vice President of UNSA.
Accountability, that one is what I want to start on.
Yeah, you start, Madam Vice President. Is there any accountability for the money that is paid by the members?
So the money that is paid is subscription. These UNSA structures, we have the students' councils in different post-primary schools, and also universities and tertiary. So every student on their fee, they pay 2,000 as UNSA fee. That's subscription. It's on their fees. So it's the school that hands over the subscription to UNSA. So like I said, how we are voted, it's an electoral college vote. We have representatives from these schools, 3 of them, the guild president, guild speaker, and women affairs. Then from even, we have student leaders represent their post-primary schools at district level, and then they vote chairperson, and then speaker and women represent. So we usually have councils. Now councils is where budgets are passed, right? And then accountability of the previous money and all. So the accountability is there, and it's usually given to the student leaders. But how we, the body, give accountability to the entire students' fraternity is being on ground. Programs, activities, and being there for the students. That's when
for
they
the student to
feel
realize their money is being put to
valued.
use.
Yes, being valued for. And then the question of African Youth Parliament, I don't think I'm better placed to answer that because East African Youth Parliament is an initiative of the East African community. Yes, we are fully backed up by the East African community. So maybe if African Union initiates and or if all African Students Union does this as one of their initiatives to push for the East African, to advocate for it, then maybe they can be considered. It could be a huge one, but it depends on the union itself because like I said, East African community is fully behind on the East African Parliament.
Secretary General,
lwaki muli uptown nnyo?
Maybe kantandikire kucha East African or kucha All Africa Youth Parliament. Yo sinajiuliza. Na ye waliwo Pan-African Parliament.
Oh, yeah.
There
is also Pan-African Youth Union. Yes.
It is there.
It
but
is there.
Parliament,
no Parliament,
no. Pan-African Parliament, omubaka Patrick Nsamba yatukiikirira n'abalala. Waliwo All Africa Students Union egenda kulonda ng'ennaku z'omwezi 20 buli ggwanga ligenda kiikirirwa abantu babiri. Ndowooza bwe banaaba batuuse abagenda tukiikirira. They can moot that idea because it is a very good idea. Ate nga African Union eyinza okukibaakinga. So bonna abagenda tukiikirira mukiteeseeko. Kuba kiteeso kirungi era neebaza mwami Mwebe yakireese. UNSA has structures from around the country. Actually, every district...
being active. If someone is alleging that you are uptown, it means other structures outside Kampala are not related.
I want to use this opportunity to thank UNSA Kiriandongo district. It is coming out very actively on the issue of teenage pregnancies, as we want to call it. Now, I use this opportunity to challenge other UNSA chapters in the various structures, in the various districts.
Even Mukono is doing tree
UNSA
planting.
Yeah.
So,
UNSA structures in certain districts, they are doing well. Now, it is our obligation okuzizuukusa wonna weziri ezitali active wonna weziri kati in the past waliwo ekigenze ne kibalowoozesebwa nti bo balonzi bakoma kulonda nti bo bajja ne balonda ne balonda executive ne balinda baddemu bajje balonda omwaka oguddako kati that's not true. Colleagues, wherever you are members of council. That makes you members of the UNSA parliament. It is your obligation to make UNSA relevant. Every school has
relevant by raising your voices. Thank you very much. I want to pick your opinion on the relevance of the multi-party politics in universities.
President, no. Kubango lava, in case tomorrow we wake up and we have to cheat it, any other party that comes up. You will know, in all central universities, we are getting leaders from that party. So the reason I'm saying, now like UCU doesn't have party politics, but we've seen their leadership. They have genuine leadership. They vote on principle, which is not the case in Makere, Chambogo, Moobs. When he talked about violence, Tesuka Makere na Chambogo. In Kumba, you cannot see violence. In Uganda Matters. But again, existence of these parties, that is where we see monetization, that is where we see violence, that is where we see everything. But I feel like if universities, though at some point we see that these parties play a role. They pick you from there. Nupe jamanya extra mima winnings are kalulu. Bagena mu picking it out. Before you know it's 2026, bagena mu later. Bagena mu frontinga. NRM will know but most of the leaders we see Batan Kidaku university.
They will not Julia is vocal, so they will look front her.
You will not be talking about a decade if she didn't come up for guild president. Yes. So Batan can about picking it out. Though yet again we see the agenda yokulondo mukulembeze chuka. Like really students.
Political parties.
They basically vote political parties, not in Makere and Chambogo, it's political parties.
For as long as we Do you agree with Julia's statements?
And I partly, perhaps, I think nemakerere tebatukiriza kuraningira mbibina. Naye techikirizibwa era ku ballot paper kubako kifaananyi kyonna
kati political parties ziyingiriza wakati balaba FDC
constitution ye Makerere ne constitution yo efuga obululu Makerere eri under constitution ye ggwanga yetwala wonna ate constitution ye ggwanga etuwa ebetu to have the freedom to associate. Olibu abasazeewo nti yagenda ku associating ne Nuupu. Mu constitution ye Makerere egobe ebibiina mu Makerere. Tutulina buyinza kumugaana. Oba omenye etteeka. On the ballot kuliko nti gwe gundi, gwe Julia okola koosi gundi. Period. Tekubaako nti ono Shamimu wa Nuupu.
But that doesn't stop students from voting political parties because
already
writing up posters and political parties.
I think the reason why political parties are taking so much root in university politics is because many of these parties are associated with certain ideas. Okay?
Yes.
Now, people will vote for the National Unity Platform in Makerere, perhaps I'm using it as an example.
Yes.
Because it has presented itself to stand for some issues that students find pertinent.
Not because the candidate is
not because the candidate
position.
is because not the candidate is Nope, no, but because you're Nope every day.
Because avudemu Nope ate Nope ina fronting ngatabana bibabili.
Yes, nti yo Nope ejja kuvaayo egambe this tax must go. Ate abaana bakikiririzaamu kati Nuupu bwereeta candidate oba bwe associating ne candidate abaana bajja tajja kukkiriza fees kubanga Nuupu etugamba nti affordable education for all. Okitegeera. So ku ballot tekubaako nti Shamimu Nambasa Nuupu pharmacy akubaako Shamimu Nambasa muyizi wa pharmacy.
Okay.
Obedi Kamulegea muyizi wa education.
Thank you, Roy. Supposing it is a later note we are finishing. Supposing you are given to be a Lord Mayor for 15 minutes, what would you do in your 15 minutes of fame? Lord Mayor of Kampala, what would you do in your 15 minutes of fame? 3 or 4 decisions that you would make that would benefit the people of Kampala.
3 or 4 things.
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, banging up creating our job centers.
One, how? I will not ask you the how.
Because the how is
the how is
creating
wrong.
our job centers in Gomuntu bwaba ina skill jaina asobola ogenda na registering anti nze nsobola okuzimba then omuntu bwaba ina bwaba anoonya omuzimbi nti agenda contacts azisangeyo ekyokubiri ngenda kujjako eryanyi eringi erikozesebwa aba law enforcement nti abantu balekere human dignity ne bwoba omwarestinze muntu eyo yakubirwa mpadde nnya
satu oba nnya
eyokusatu I'm going to liberalize spaces that are constitutionally there for the protection of the democracy of this country. Ngenda kujjawo police nzijewo amaje kubifonga freedom city square ebyo bifo bibeerenga by'abantu basobola okutuulawo n'okulaga decent yaabwe kubanga that's why they are there. Ekyokuna
15 minutes
munaye mbangenda kujjawo 15 minutes zokka
15 minutes of fame
naye nga police jemba nkoze egenda kulastinga
ngegenda kulastinga obirekawo ne babitwala mu maaso
munaye mbangenda kujjawo
enzigota zeziriwa
slums nzijewo nzimbewo nzimbewo affordable accommodations.
Okay, thank you, Roy. Madam Vice President,
yes.
What would you do with your 15 minutes of fame if you are to be told you are the Speaker of Parliament today?
The Speaker, but again,
you are the Speaker of Parliament today.
Neither the so-called data so-called Jacob. The data so-called National Female Youth MP because
you want the Youth MP?
National
okay, so the 15 minutes of fame, fame as the National Youth MP.
Free pads. If we cannot have free pads, Zineza or is what we can have reusables as free entirely in the nation.
Free pads.
Yes. Two. These sexual harassment in schools. What we are really just playing hide and seek, but these are issues that can really be put big force on.
They can be erased out.
You cannot have 0% sexual harassment.
But you can actually reduce
but the percentage, yes, I feel like the rate at which we are handling it is just playing around.
Feather fingers.
Yeah, feather, something like that. Then basically a leadership center for girls. That's all I envision.
Oh, thank you very much, Julia. Thank you for being confident. Thank you for being objective. NRM. You do not objective. You do not refer NRM. Thank you for being objective and for being vocal. You have picked a few things from Julia. If you want to join leadership or take up any leadership positions, Roy, because to Julia the space.
Thank you so much for watching us, our dear viewers. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel, like and follow the Facebook so that you can keep engaging in these very constructive conversations. It is my dream that as a generation or as young people in this country, we raise our level of consciousness and to the issues that really affect our existence. It is my prayer, and I'm going to work towards that in my position as UNSA, not forgetting the social welfare of our students and the issues that really affect the contemporary student in this dispensation. I thank you for the opportunity and for hosting me with my able Vice President.
Julia, your last shots.
Oh yeah, thank you so much for listening in. We are so humbled that you spared your time to listen from us. To every student out there, I'm speaking on behalf of UNSA. We are here for you, and we are here to represent each and every grievance that you have. We do not have a lot of time, but for the 1 year we have in office, trust that we shall deliver to the best of our ability. And with us, most importantly, we carry a vision of hope. We know there are very many issues affecting students, from tuition to teenage pregnancies to everything else, but we shall try to bring all the services on ground and make sure we serve with you all in your respective capacities. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. But so visa to jabba komiawo mu March. Those are 3 months. But bulire bye bakoze ne bye batakoze. So in March, expect us to be having Julia and Roy mu studio wano nga batunyumizamu what they have done, what challenges are they facing, because they are new leaders. We didn't discuss the challenges. We will be discussing the challenges in March. Fraida Bikobere is my name. Thank you for watching. Have yourself a good day.
Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.